In today's mindful activity, we're going to be using watercolor to create some journal entry type paintings using simple shapes. I love using watercolor because it reminds me to work slowly and patiently as the paint dries, and sometimes to let happy accidents happen and to let go of the final product and just enjoy the painting process. So I'm going to invite you to paint along with me, and you'll need watercolor paper. I've set up here a few sheets of 5x7 as well as a small 5x7 folded in half and taped on the back of my board here. I'm using painter's tape to tape down the paper so that it doesn't warp and bend as I paint. And I'm also using a set of watercolor paints. This is the brush that it came with, a pen and a Sharpie, a straw, and a cup of water. Once you get all these things set up, I'll give you some ideas for what you can do. So the first painting I'm going to make is the one that I like to call Sparks of Joy. First, because I find it fun to play with a straw and watercolor, and second, because the theme of it is things that bring me joy in my life. So as we're painting, we're going to think about positive things in our lives. They can be really small or big that brings you joy. So you can look back at this painting and remember those times. So you're going to need a straw and your paintbrush for this. And on your paper, dip your brush in some water, pick a color that you like, get a good amount of paint on that brush, and paint a little area with a good amount of water. Sometimes I like to add an extra drop just to make sure there's enough water in there. And then I'm going to take my straw and blow to create that firework type effect with the watercolor. This activity also makes you think about your breath. And when we think about breathing, it brings us back into the present moment and helps us be relaxed. So as you're painting, every time you do a dot, try to take a nice deep breath. You'll find that as you paint in this style, it will help you relax, and you can start thinking about things that bring you joy. So I like to do this all over the page with whatever colors you choose. And again, letting loose, letting the watercolor flow where it may, and letting go of the perfect plan or idea that you've had in your head, and see what happens. Try to fill your page. You can use every color of the rainbow, or maybe you want to go back to a color you've already used. But this should take a few minutes. Take some time. Enjoy the process. It doesn't matter so much how it looks in the end. It matters about your experience. My favorite part is seeing the colors mixed together and what happens, especially as I paint and see other colors making new colors. I'm going to take a break from this painting now and go to my next one, and then when this dries, I'll write things that bring me joy. For my example that I have here, I wrote my friends, going to the beach on vacation, being outside, painting, baking cookies and cakes. I love baking. Friday movie night with my family, playing with my daughter and hearing her laugh. So just think of things in your life that spark joy. They could be little things or big things. It's a nice reminder to have, and it's a great way to do journaling with your art. The next thing I'm going to do is what I call circles of affirmation. For this painting, we're going to paint circles, and we'll do different size circles with different colors, thinking about affirming statements. So positive thoughts that you can think to yourself to keep in mind the things that are important to you to help you live a positive life. So as I paint these circles, I try to think about things that I can tell myself in moments that might be stressful or frustrating, and what I would say to myself in that moment. So as I'm painting, one thing I like to tell myself sometimes if I make a mistake is, I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be perfect. It's a great affirmation. As I'm painting these circles, I also just like to focus on making the circle. And you can see I push down my brush and then I give it a little twirl. I try not to press too hard because I don't want to break the brush, but I just kind of twirl it around in a circle. And if you want a bigger circle, you could go around it again. And if it's not a perfect circle, my affirmation might be a great one for you to write down. I don't have to be perfect. Another affirmation I like to tell myself when I need some positive thoughts in my head are, I trust my decisions, or I make good decisions. So maybe you've had a fight with someone and you're not sure you said the right thing and you're nervous about it and your mind is racing or you can't think straight. Trusting your decisions is something that you can tell yourself. Trust your decisions. Writing it down in an affirmation and seeing it on your paper can help you believe that. So after you do this painting, you writing it in a circle can bring it that much closer to believing it. So have fun swirling your brush and try to keep your body relaxed. Focus on your breathing, be in the present moment. Remind yourself that it doesn't have to be perfect. Some other great things that my students have said in the past that I love for affirmations, I wrote on my sheet here, such as, I am strong, I am smart, I will succeed, I will reach my goals, I am creative, I am kind, I'm a good person. So many times we get caught up in our lives, the stress of everything, that maybe we don't feel good about ourselves, and maybe other people affect us and how we think in our relationships. And when we can think of sayings to tell ourselves in those moments to think positive, it's really helpful. So for this one, we'll come back to it when it's dry and we'll write some positive affirmations. The third painting that I'm going to do with you is on our smaller paper. which is folded in half over the board, to make a little card. This is one that maybe instead of doing for yourself, you could think of giving to someone else, someone that might also need some positivity in their life or motivation or just a nice gesture, letting them know it's okay. My example here, I wrote, "Take it one step at a time." And I'm gonna call this painting steps because we're going to paint washes of color across our page and let them blend into each other. So you can see that one step leads to the next step. I'm going to start with a different color for this one, so we'll do a different color scheme here. And we'll put the paint on the brush, wash it across the page, and then instead of dipping it back in the paint, I'm going to add a little bit of water to my brush and do another line underneath it. And I'm not going to worry about the line being perfect, and I also kind of want to let it bleed into the next one. I'm going to wet my brush again and paint another line and let parts of it meet up. This is called bleeding into colors. So it's blending in with the next line. You can fix it up a little bit as you go, but try to just let the color flow and see what happens. So every line does not have to be perfect. It's more fun when it's not because you get some interesting effects. Purple's a pretty dark color, so I haven't really put my brush in the paint yet because I'm trying to let it get lighter as it goes down the page. And now here, I'm going to pick another color and just add that on top of these strokes. So I have some red here. Oh, my painting came off the tape. If that happens to you, just gently and carefully put your tape back on a little bit more. I'm going to drop some red into the areas of the paint that's still wet and drag it across with a wet brush and let that red bleed into these colors as well. This paint does not want to stay down. And you can see the ones that are still pretty wet, it bleeds quickly. So that one, super simple, lines across the page, I let it flow, let it go, and then I'll come back to my first painting. Hopefully by now it's dried, but if it's not, maybe you can take some time to think about what you're going to write on your paintings before you start. But if it has dried, go ahead and grab your pen or your Sharpie and think about some sparks of joy. So I already gave you some of my examples here, but I'll just make some new ones because I'm sure I can think of some more things. Spring, the season coming and the sun coming out makes me really happy. The spring sun. My dog greeting me when I get home, how happy she is. Pizza on Friday at school. Fireworks. They're fun and definitely sparks of joy. I always think of celebrations and 4th of July. Playing frisbee with my friends. Taking photos of things in nature. Maybe you have a hobby that brings you happiness, or maybe it's a food or a person. You might struggle at first to think of things, and then as you go and talk to other people that you're working with. Maybe you'll get ideas from them as well. The color blue, just seeing it makes me happy. And my new shoes. Sometimes just buying yourself something new can bring a little joy, right? Okay, so I filled most of these. It's fun to look at this days from now or weeks from now and say, oh, that was interesting when that brought me joy. I forgot about that. That does make me happy when you're not having a good day. So hold on to that, and then maybe it'll be a nice reminder to look at when you need it. The next painting that we did, the circles of affirmation. For this one, we're going to think of some positive things, positive thoughts that we'd like to tell ourselves when we're having moments where we're really not feeling so great about ourselves. So think of some things about yourself that you want to tell yourself that you feel good about. Some of the ones that I already wrote were: I am smart, I'm strong, I am creative. On this one, I'm going to say I am an artist. Because if you're doing this right now, you are an artist. I am a good friend. Sometimes maybe you might not feel like a good friend if someone makes you feel bad about something. So you can think of the times where you felt like you were a good friend. What makes you a good friend? You can write that too. Maybe you're funny or smart. I'm going to say I am smart. Some parts of my paint are not totally dry, so I'm working around them. You can pause this video and take your time, follow along with me when your paint is dry. I wrote, I am loved by my friends and family. And this other yellow one, I'm going to say, I am happy. So there's just some days where you are not having a good day and you think, gosh, I'm never in a good mood. Why am I so cranky all the time? But you can remind yourself, hopefully today you're having a good day. And we do feel all the different emotions: happy, sad, excited. I am strong. Or maybe you're a hard worker. Maybe you're caring. What are things you can tell yourself that you're proud of yourself for? Or maybe it's a reminder that you want to tell yourself, such as, I don't have to be perfect, or I don't have to worry. I'm going to write that one. Sometimes I worry about the future. I don't have to worry. Just be here now. Couldn't finish this one because it's so wet. I'll come back to that bubble. I don't have to worry. I don't have to be perfect. I will not stress about the small stuff. I will not stress. Sometimes just telling yourself that, you begin to believe it. Another way you can write an affirmation is to just tell yourself something like, let go. I'm sure you know the movie Frozen, let it go. Let it go is a great phrase to tell yourself. Or maybe you need to forgive someone or forgive yourself. Forgive. Or love more. What do you want the best you to do? How can you picture the best you? And then our last one might still be a little wet on the edges here. I see a little bit of droplets. This is the one that we're going to make as a card. You can write your own phrase. It doesn't need to relate to the painting in the background. It's really just something you want to share with someone else. So this one I wrote, take it one step at a time. I've done journal entries before where I painted over them and I've had a theme. This one I wrote, be forgiving, love yourself. Maybe you could write that to someone else, love yourself, or I love you. Or maybe you want them to let it go. Just a positive phrase that you'd like to share with someone. It could be someone specific or just a general positive phrase to share with the world. For this one, I think I'm going to keep it really simple and say it's okay. My daughter has this book called It's Okay by children's author Todd Parr. If you don't know those books, they're really happy and they make you giggle because they are such silly drawings. And this book, It's Okay, tells you it's okay to feel many different ways, happy, sad, mad, and frustrated. And my daughter, who's very little, likes to tell me all the time, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be mad. And I just love that little phrase, thinking about how simple it is to just tell yourself, it's okay, and to tell someone else, it's okay. So we just did 3 mindful paintings, thinking about some thoughts in a positive way, trying to be in the moment, enjoy the process of painting, and think of some things in your life as well. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that when you look at it again, it brings you joy. Thanks for watching. Bye.